In the golden light of the African bushveld, legends are forged in dust, blood, and willpower. Here, every sunrise brings new challenges, and only the fiercest survive to see another day. The land itself seems to remember the stories of those who dared to rule it. One such legend was Kinky Tail, a lion whose presence commanded respect and fear. His very silhouette on the horizon sent ripples through the grasslands, a warning to all who crossed his path. His face, a map of scars, told stories of survival and conquest. Each mark was a memory etched by tooth and claw, a testament to the countless battles he had endured and won. His amber eyes held a chilling intelligence, piercing the souls of rivals. They reflected not just cunning, but a deep primal wisdom, an understanding of the harsh rules that governed his world. Kinky Tail was more than a lion. He was a force of nature, his muscular frame a testament to a life of conflict. Every muscle, every movement spoke of power honed by years of struggle and survival. Trackers spoke of him in hushed tones. He was different, unforgettable, a warrior sculpted by the wild. His legend grew with every whispered tale, every fresh track found in the morning dew. Even among the infamous Mapogo coalition, Kinky Tail stood apart as the enforcer, the executioner, the brother who never backed down. He was the muscle behind the coalition's reign, the lion others looked to in moments of crisis. His reputation preceded him. The silence of prey and the retreat of predators signaled his approach. The bush would fall eerily quiet, as if the land itself was holding its breath. In the Sabi Sands he thrived where only the strongest survived. The unforgiving wilderness shaped him, and in turn he shaped the fate of all who lived within his domain. Kinky Tail's story is a saga of power, brotherhood, and the relentless drive to conquer. His bond with his coalition brothers was unbreakable, forged in the fires of shared battles and victories. He ruled with an iron paw, his legend echoing long after his violent, tragic end. The echoes of his reign still linger in the twilight, a reminder of the price of power. This is the story of a king whose shadow still haunts the land, a legacy written in the dust and remembered by all who walk the wilds of Sabi Sands. Kinky Tail was one of 6 males, 5 brothers, who would become the Mapogo coalition. Raised in the airfield pride, their bond was forged by hardship and shared struggle. They learned to hunt and fight together, forming a brotherhood that would change the Sabi Sands forever. Kinky Tail's name came from a kink in his tail, a playful moniker for a deadly lion. As they grew, so did their ambition and hunger for power. Led by their older half-brother Mapogo, the Mapogo became a perfect storm of size, strength and strategy. Kinky Tail and Mr. T, the most aggressive, defined their reign with raw ferocity. They didn't just conquer, they annihilated rivals, erasing bloodlines to build a dynasty of fear. Their brutal upbringing hardened them into ruthless kings. In their world, hesitation meant death. Mercy was a luxury. Kinky Tail learned to be relentless, ferocious, and terrifying, qualities that would define his legacy. The Mapogo's true reign began when they set their sights on the northern Sabi Sands, a region renowned for its fierce competition and legendary lion dynasties. This was a land ruled by powerful males, where only the strongest could hope to survive and thrive. Kinky Tail and Mr. T led the charge, a duo whose terrifying efficiency would soon become infamous across the wild. Together, they became living legends, the enforcers of the coalition's brutal will, feared by all who crossed their path. Mr. T was the relentless instigator, always the first to attack. Kinky Tail, the cold, calculating finisher who never hesitated. Their takeover of the Ottawa Pride was swift, ruthless, and absolute, leaving no room for resistance. The Mapogo didn't just defeat their rivals, they eliminated them, ensuring that no future threats would ever rise from the ashes. Kinky Tail and Mr. T were responsible for the deaths of dozens of lions, males, females, and even cubs, leaving devastation in their wake. Their violence sent shockwaves through the Sabi Sands, shattering generations-old prides and scattering survivors across the wilderness. The mere sight of them patrolling together was a death sentence for any enemy, a warning that no one was safe. Their thunderous roars echoed across the plains, a constant reminder of their unchallenged rule and the fear they inspired. With Kinky Tail and Mr. T as guardians, the Mapogo Empire seemed unbreakable, their dominance absolute. They carved out a kingdom through sheer force and unyielding aggression, reshaping the balance of power. Their reign of terror changed the landscape forever, leaving a legacy that would haunt the Sabi Sands for generations to come. The Mapogo legend was written in blood, and Kinky Tail held the pen. His fighting style was controlled violence, swift, decisive, and lethal. He mastered grappling, pinning enemies and delivering killing bites with precision. The Mapogo, led by Kinky Tail and Mr. T, took the practice of killing rival cubs to horrifying extremes, sometimes consuming them to erase all traces of previous dynasties. Kinky Tail's calmness in battle was chilling. He fought with deliberate, lethal intent. He exploited weaknesses, wasted no energy, and ensured no escape for his foes. This tactical brutality made him a terrifying adversary. The Mapogo's reign decimated lion populations and created an atmosphere of perpetual fear. Other predators avoided their path. Kinky Tail was the chief enforcer of this bloody order. His name became synonymous with death. In the Sabi Sands, he ruled a kingdom built on fear. Among the Mapogo, Kinky Tail inspired a unique terror. He was the coalition's dark soul. Trackers called him Satan, the devil, but the executioner fit best. He earned this title through countless acts of calculated brutality. One story tells of a rival male trapped by Kinky Tail's foresight, defeated and dismantled with a single, powerful bite. Kinky Tail never backed down, charging into danger with fearless confidence. He confronted buffalo and hyena clans, not just for food, but for the challenge. His reputation alone sent pride scattering and rivals fleeing. He was a psychological weapon, clearing paths without a fight. Lionesses hid their cubs, males abandoned territories. In the African bush, Kinky Tail was the lead actor in a play of terror. He was more than a lion, he was a symbol of unstoppable force. His legend would never be forgotten. All reigns end, and for the Mapogo, the challenge came from the 5 Majingilane males. Young and powerful, they invaded the Mapogo Empire. Kinky Tail, isolated, faced them alone. For any other lion, retreat was the only option, but not for Kinky Tail. He turned to face 5 rivals, his scarred face defiant. The battle was a testament to his courage. He launched himself at the invaders, a whirlwind of fury. For a moment, his ferocity stunned them, but numbers overwhelmed him. The Majingilanes swarmed, breaking his body. Even with broken legs and spine, Kinky Tail fought on, refusing to surrender. The Majingilane began to feed on him while he was still alive, a final act of dominance. Yet his eyes never left his enemies, a last glare of defiance. He died as he lived, a warrior, undefeated in spirit. His final stand became legend. Kinky Tail's death sent shockwaves through the Sabi Sands, felt most by his brother, Mr. T. The loss was not just the end of a life, but the shattering of a partnership that had ruled the land with unmatched ferocity. For years, the two brothers had been inseparable, their bond forged in countless battles and shared victories. Discovering the aftermath, Mr. T's reaction was pure rage, a roar of anguish that chilled all who heard it. His cries pierced the night, echoing across the plains, a sound that spoke of heartbreak and fury in equal measure. The bond between the brothers was laid bare. Mr. T had lost his enforcer, his shadow. Their connection had been more than just blood. It was a partnership built on trust, loyalty, and survival. Grief turned to vengeance as Mr. T patrolled relentlessly, searching for the Majingilane. Every step he took was driven by a desperate need for retribution, his senses sharpened by loss. He became reckless, aggressive, haunted by loss. The once calculated Mapogo now acted on impulse, his pain fueling a dangerous unpredictability. His deep roars echoed through the night, a haunting call for his fallen brother. Each roar was a declaration of defiance, a refusal to let Kinky Tail's memory fade into silence. The coalition was fractured. The unstoppable duo was gone. The unity that once made them legends was now a memory, replaced by isolation and uncertainty. Mr. T's rage targeted everything: hyenas, vehicles, even lone Majingilane. No creature was spared from his wrath, as if fighting the world could fill the void left by his brother. Alone, he was outmatched, his power diminished without Kinky Tail. The savannah, once his kingdom, now felt vast and unforgiving. The Mapogo's empire began to crumble. Territories were lost, and the legend of their reign started to fade as rivals closed in. Mr. T's rampage ended in his own demise. His final days were marked by relentless battles, but ultimately he too fell to the same fate as his brother. The death of Kinky Tail was the wound from which the coalition never recovered. The Mapogo's story became a cautionary tale of power, loss, and the cost of brotherhood. Their strength was not just in numbers, but in the bond between two deadly brothers. In the end, it was that bond, once their greatest weapon, that proved most vulnerable to heartbreak. Kinky Tail's life ended, but his legacy began. He is remembered as an icon of the wild, his story immortalized in documentaries and campfire tales. He represents the raw reality of nature, beautiful, brutal, and fleeting. The Mapogo challenged everything we thought we knew about lions. Kinky Tail, as executioner, was at the center of this shift. He forced us to confront the savage intelligence behind the king of the jungle. For those who saw him, the memory is indelible, a connection to something ancient and powerful. Even those who feared him respected his courage. His final stand is cited as one of the bravest moments in the animal kingdom. Kinky Tail's legend is a reminder of the wildness we are losing. More than a decade later, Kinky Tail's presence is still felt in the Sabi Sands. Guides tell his story to new generations, pointing out his territories and battlegrounds. He's become the benchmark for dominant males, a standard few can match. His legend has reached a global audience, his story debated and celebrated worldwide. Kinky Tail is a digital ghost, his image and saga shared across the internet. The Mapogo's reign changed lion society, ushering in an era of mega-coalitions. In quiet moments, it's easy to imagine his scarred face emerging from the shadows. He is the ghost who still roams the bushveld, a symbol of a wilder, more brutal time. True legends never die, their spirit is absorbed by the land, their roar carried forever on the African wind. He was known as Kinky Tail, a name whispered with a mix of respect and recognition. The kink in his tail was a unique identifier, a mark of his individuality in the vast African savanna. It was a small imperfection that somehow added to his imposing presence. Across the sprawling expanse of the Sabi Sands, his name was spoken with awe and reverence. He wasn't just another lion, he was a force of nature, a ruler whose presence shaped the very landscape. His reputation preceded him, echoing through the valleys and across the plains. He was more than a lion. He was a legend etched in the annals of the wild. His story was told and retold around campfires, a testament to his strength, his cunning, and his unwavering spirit. He stood as a symbol of power and resilience. As one of the famed Mapogo coalition, a band of brothers who dominated the region, he ruled with unmatched ferocity and an iron will. His roar a declaration of his sovereignty. His power was absolute, his control unquestioned. He was the apex predator, the king of his domain. His body was a living map of scars and victories, each mark a testament to battles fought and won. These were not just wounds, they were badges of honor, proof of his courage and his unwavering commitment to survival. But on a scorching day in 2010, under the relentless African sun, Kinky Tail faced his greatest test, a challenge that would define his legacy. It was a moment of reckoning, a trial by fire that would reveal the true measure of his character. It was not as a conqueror, but as a king, forced to make a final stand, defending his territory and his pride against overwhelming odds. He was no longer fighting to expand his kingdom, but to protect what was rightfully his. This is not just a story of a lion's death, a mere biological event, but of a king's conscious choice to meet his end with defiance, with unwavering courage in the face of inevitable defeat. It's a tale of dignity and resilience, of choosing how one's story ends. In the unforgiving wild, where only the strongest survive and weakness is a death sentence, Kinky Tail's last battle became a saga of courage, loyalty, and sacrifice. A testament to the bonds that hold a pride together. It was a fight for survival, but also a fight for honor. His final moments were not a tragedy of loss, but the powerful crescendo of a life lived with unmatched ferocity, a life that echoed with the roars of victory and the quiet dignity of a king. As we revisit that fateful day, stepping back into the golden light of the African savanna, we witness not just the physical end of a magnificent lion, the fading of a powerful presence, but the enduring birth of an immortal legend, a story that will continue to inspire awe and respect for generations to come. This is the unforgettable story of Kinky Tail's final defiant stand, a moment etched forever in the heart of the African wilderness. The dry season of 2010 gripped Sabi Sands, turning rivers to dust and grasslands to brittle straw. Scarcity pushed every creature to the edge, predators tested boundaries, and every waterhole became a battleground. For the Mapogo coalition, their once secure kingdom now felt vulnerable. The air was thick with tension, the scent of desperation, and new rivals carried on the wind. Roars in the night were no longer just declarations. They were challenges from ambitious young lions. The Majingilanes, a powerful coalition, sensed weakness and hovered at the borders. The dry season was more than a climate. It was the spark for a war that would change everything. The stage was set for a clash of dynasties. Only the strongest, smartest, and most ruthless would survive. The Majingilanes were a gathering storm, threatening the old order. The war for Sabi Sands had begun. At the heart of the Mapogo dynasty were two brothers, Kinky Tail and Mr. T. Their bond was forged in blood and battle, making them an unstoppable force. Kinky Tail, the strategist, was the steady hand. Mr. T, the enforcer, was pure aggression. Together they carved out a vast territory, their roars a declaration of absolute power. Every inch of their land was won through relentless patrols and brutal fights. Their brotherhood was their strength, loyalty in a world of betrayal. But time and conflict had whittled the coalition down to just the two of them. Older now, their bodies bore the marks of 100 battles, yet their spirit remained unbroken. They stood as aging kings, facing a rising tide of challenges. The Mapogo legacy was built on unity and ferocity, but even the mightiest empires must face their decline. The brothers prepared to defend their kingdom, side by side, against the coming storm. Sad. In the shadows, a new force gathered the Majingilanes, 4 prime males known as the Night Watchmen. Unlike the Mapogo, they moved in silence, striking with stealth and precision. Younger, bigger, and united by a ruthless pack mentality, they were the antithesis of the aging kings. Their strategy was to avoid direct fights, instead isolating and overwhelming their rivals. They studied the Mapogo, waiting for a moment of weakness. Their goal to break the bond between Kinky Tail and Mr. T tension simmered as skirmishes erupted along the borders. The Majingilanes tightened their grip, a shadow growing over the Mapogo kingdom. The threat was no longer distant, it was imminent. A final confrontation was inevitable. The day of the final battle began like any other two brothers patrolling their kingdom, but fate intervened and the brothers became separated, each drawn by the needs of their territory. Such splits were routine, but this time it was different. Kinky Tail, ever vigilant, continued alone, unaware he was being watched. The Majingilanes had waited for this moment, and Mapogo alone. As Kinky Tail moved deeper into the bush, the trap closed around him. The silent hunters converged, using the terrain to mask their approach. The king was walking into an ambush he could not escape. The attack was sudden, a brutal ambush orchestrated with chilling precision. The Majingilane lions, notorious for their ruthless tactics, launched their assault without warning. It was a whirlwind of teeth and claws, a chaotic dance of aggression and survival. Each movement was a calculated strike, each snarl a declaration of war. The air crackled with tension as the lions clashed. The coordinated attack of the Majingilanes struck with devastating force. Their combined strength and strategic prowess made them a formidable force to be reckoned with. They moved as one, a unified front against their solitary target. Surrounded and drastically outnumbered, Kinky Tail found himself in an impossible situation. The odds were stacked heavily against him, a lone warrior facing a united front of seasoned fighters. Kinky Tail faced impossible odds, a true test of his strength, resilience, and unwavering spirit. The challenge before him was immense, a battle against overwhelming power. For any other lion, flight would be the only logical option, a desperate attempt to escape the jaws of defeat. Self-preservation would dictate a retreat, a surrender to the inevitable. But Kinky Tail stood his ground, unwavering in his resolve, refusing to yield to the overwhelming pressure. He planted his feet firmly, a symbol of defiance against the encroaching threat. He unleashed a roar of pure defiance, a primal scream that echoed across the savannah, challenging his attackers and asserting his dominance. The roar was a testament to his unyielding spirit, a declaration of war. He met the charge head-on, a fearless display of courage, refusing to cower in the face of danger. He braced himself for the impact, ready to meet his enemies with unwavering determination, refusing to surrender his crown, his territory, his very identity as the king of this land. He would defend his realm with every fiber of his being, a true testament to his regal status. The battle was chaotic and brutal, a savage struggle for dominance where only the strongest would survive. The clash of titans echoed through the land, a symphony of violence and desperation. But Kinky Tail fought back with the ferocity of a true warrior, fueled by an unyielding spirit and a burning desire to protect his kingdom. He was a force of nature, a whirlwind of claws and teeth. He twisted, clawed, and bit, a desperate dance of survival against overwhelming odds. Every move was a calculated risk, a desperate attempt to turn the tide of battle, determined to make his enemies pay for daring to challenge his reign, for threatening his pride, for invading his land. His eyes burned with a fierce determination, a promise of retribution. Even as the Majingilanes overwhelmed him with their superior numbers and relentless attacks, he refused to surrender, his spirit unbroken. He stood as a beacon of defiance, even in the face of defeat. He attacked, not just defended, showcasing his unwavering courage and refusal to be a victim. He took the fight to his enemies, a testament to his aggressive spirit. His courage in that moment defined his legacy, etching his name into the annals of the savannah's history. He became a symbol of bravery, a testament to the power of the lion's heart. He knew the odds were stacked against him, the reality of his situation crystal clear. He understood the danger, the likelihood of defeat, but his resolve remained unshaken. But the instinct to defend his kingdom, his pride, his family, was stronger than fear, overriding any sense of self-preservation. His loyalty to his land and his loved ones fueled his defiance. He would not be chased from his land, he would not abandon his territory to the invaders. He stood as a guardian, a protector of all that he held dear. He would die on it as a king, a ruler who defended his realm to his last breath. His death would be a testament to his unwavering commitment, a symbol of his regal authority. The dust and roars filled the air, a cacophony of violence that marked the intensity of the struggle. The very earth seemed to tremble beneath the weight of the battle. A testament to his final stand, a dramatic climax to a life lived with courage and conviction. His last moments were a powerful display of defiance, a final act of rebellion. Kinky Tail's defiance was his last, a final act of rebellion against the inevitable. It was a statement that would resonate through the ages, a symbol of unwavering courage. His most powerful statement, a roar that echoed through the savannah, a testament to his unyielding spirit. It was a declaration of his reign, a final assertion of his dominance. He fought for his pride, his family, his legacy, all that he held dear. He was a protector, a provider, a king who would sacrifice everything for his loved ones. His honor, his unwavering commitment to his principles, his refusal to compromise his values. He was a noble leader, a dignified ruler, a lion of unwavering integrity. And his legacy, a story of courage, defiance, and unwavering loyalty that would be told for generations to come. He became a legend, a symbol of the indomitable spirit of the lion. In that moment, he became immortal, his spirit forever etched into the fabric of the savannah. His story would live on, inspiring future generations of lions to stand tall in the face of adversity. The fight was savage, a maelstrom of claws, fangs, and fury. Kinky Tail, though surrounded, fought with the rage of a cornered king. He managed to wound one Majingilane, a mark that would never heal. But the numbers were overwhelming. For every blow he landed, he took more in return. The Majingilanes were relentless, aiming to immobilize him even as his strength faded. Kinky Tail refused to yield. He fought for every second, every inch of ground. The battle was over in minutes, but his resistance was legendary. Pinned to the earth, he still struggled, still fought. He forced the new kings to pay dearly for their victory. His final battle would be remembered as a display of unmatched courage. The end was brutal. Once Kinky Tail was down, the Majingilanes showed no mercy. Their assault was savage, ensuring the king would never rise again. His life ended in the dust of his own kingdom, surrounded by his conquerors. The Majingilanes roared in triumph, their victory complete. They mauled his body, erasing the identity of the fallen king. Kinky Tail's body, once a symbol of strength, now bore the marks of his final stand. The new kings moved on their reign, beginning in blood. The bush fell silent around the fallen warrior. Even in death there was dignity. He died facing his enemies, fighting for his kingdom. A legend had fallen, but his spirit endured. The vast African savanna held its breath, unaware of the tragedy that had unfolded. News of the brutal battle, the desperate fight for survival, eventually reached Mr. T. Driven by a primal instinct and a brother's unwavering bond, he embarked on a desperate search only to find his brother's body later that day. The scene that awaited him was one of utter devastation. The scene was heart-wrenching, a stark testament to the brutal realities of their world. The mighty Kinky Tail, now still and silent. Mr. T, the fearsome enforcer, the unwavering protector, approached cautiously. He nudged Kinky Tail's lifeless form in disbelief, as if trying to rouse him from an unwelcome slumber. The reality of the situation began to sink in, a crushing weight upon his broad shoulders. For 2 days he remained by his brother's side, a silent vigil in the face of overwhelming grief. He refused to leave him, a steadfast guardian in death as he had been in life. His roars, once symbols of power and dominance, now filled with grief and rage, echoing across the savannah, a lament for the fallen brother and a challenge to those responsible. The sound was a raw expression of pain, a primal scream against the injustice of it all. He patrolled restlessly, his eyes burning with a thirst for vengeance, seeking any sign of the Majingilanes, the coalition that had dared to challenge their reign. He was a storm of fury, a force of nature unleashed, but the Majingilanes, cunning and calculating, refused to face him, knowing that a direct confrontation would be costly even for them. They were masters of strategy, preferring to strike from the shadows. Alone against 4, the odds were stacked against him. Even Mr. T, the legendary warrior, the embodiment of strength and resilience, could not reclaim their kingdom, not against such overwhelming numbers. He was forced to retreat, his heart heavy with sorrow and defeat. The fall of Kinky Tail marked the end of the Mapogo era, a dynasty built on brutality and power, now brought to its knees by loss and betrayal. A dynasty shattered by loss, leaving a void in the landscape, a silence where once their roars had echoed. The savannah mourned the passing of an era. Yet Kinky Tail's story did not end with his death. His spirit lived on, woven into the fabric of the savannah. He became a legend, a symbol of courage and sacrifice, remembered not for how he lived, but for how he chose to die, standing defiant in the face of impossible odds. His final battle is a timeless saga, a tale whispered on the wind, carried across the vast plains, of courage against impossible odds, a testament to the enduring power of the spirit. Guides still tell his story to this day, sharing the legend with wide-eyed visitors. His name is spoken with reverence, a reminder of the wild beauty and brutal realities of the African bush. Kinky Tail's legacy is etched into the soul of the African bush, a permanent mark on the landscape. He is a symbol of loyalty, a reminder of the unbreakable bonds that can exist even in the most savage of environments. Defiance, and the unbreakable spirit of a true warrior, a king who refused to yield even in death. Even in the most brutal world, where survival is a constant struggle, there is room for honor and heroism, for acts of selflessness that transcend the savagery of nature. His was the roar of a king, a sound that once commanded the savannah, and it echoes still, carried on the wind, a reminder of the legend that was Kinky Tail.